This is college football at its absolute best.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne.
I think I got my swagger back. Oh.
I love it, baby.
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins. Brought us by Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch. Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. McGrath for the win.
He got it.
If you don't like college football and you watch this one, I'm not sure what your problem is.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Thursday, August 10th, episode 484, getting near 500.
It's getting
almost
close.
football season.
I know, were we 23 days?
Yeah, I still haven't updated from 34, but yeah, I think we're 23 days away. I think that's right.
Close enough.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually. Landon is out, so we brought Joey Boots in from the bullpen. Big call up here. He's just got to get us out of a jam, and he's risen to the occasion.
Yeah, we're doing
if
it.
you all, oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
If you guys will tweet at Landon right now, you can either say, thank God you're gone, or we miss you. I'm good with either one, but just tweet at him and maybe just tell him. He's a good guy. Tell him you miss him.
Yeah, shame him. He's in Myrtle right now, so obviously the commitment levels. I mean, this close to football season is pretty crazy, but whatever. Yeah, just tell him you miss him. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, we'll handle it from here. We are going to continue on our 2022 rewatch. That's what's I for sure thought he would tell me to skip this one, or like not skip it, but push it.
Yeah, no, I felt bad almost like taking. I mean, this was the game that when you do a recap of a season, like this is the game that stands out on everyone's calendar. So yeah. I'm honored to be able to relive that. I no words for it. 24-hour period to everybody else. So.
Yeah, it's for me, I relived every part of it. I think at one point they mentioned Knoxville had been lit up since Tuesday. I was like, oh, brother, the moment I rolled back into Knoxville from Baton Rouge, it was lit up. I mean, the energy levels, the vibes, if you will, were at an all-time high that entire week. It didn't start on Tuesday. It started on Sunday night for me.
Yeah, it was definitely like one of those things where it's just like you can't fathom like the understanding. Like you can try to think about how it can be, but like you can't focus on anything. And I mean, obviously it's like that for certain game days in Knoxville, but you know, the build up to the game, the record, you got 2 undefeated teams, you're trying to beat a 15 game losing streak. It's just everything was building up. It was awesome. Priceless. I don't think I could put a price on what I would pay to relive that for the first time.
For sure. And so it's a good rewatch for that reason, but similar to the rest of the rewatch we've done, I picked up on a lot of things that I just didn't really consider in the moment. That some of it doesn't affect this year at all. Some of it kind of good looking out, like things to watch for. So good rewatch. We'll recap all of that. We're going to talk preseason top 25 polls. We're actually going to have our own this year. So I can't give I guess I can't give I can, but I can't at the same time give details. But we will be voting in a top 25 poll this year. More Important Issues will. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Me and Landon haven't prepared we haven't casted our vote yet. So we will do that eventually. But yeah, we're participating in one. I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of nervous because I dog so many top 25s. And I know mine are going to be garbage. They're going to be very SEC bias. It just is what it is.
Oh, the bias is going to be insane. I mean, it's one of those things where when you get the opportunity, you might as well just mess around anyway. Toss like on a Coastal Carolina in at like 13 or something. Just mess up the entire system.
Yeah, for sure. Like my betting losses are going to heavily affect who I vote for.
Be the one person giving Vandy a first place vote.
Yeah. I will say, unlike that Notre Dame guy who would pretend that he knew more than everybody else, I will just go ahead and let you know I don't, and I'm a Tennessee fan. and it's going to be reflected in my votes. This is not a vote of integrity at all. Just want that to be clear.
Yeah, no, I mean that should be given, but yeah, go ahead and get your piece out there because I'm sure you'll catch some backlash.
1000%. Then we got some other news. Fall camp. Obviously, it is almost 2023 football season. I know we're looking back, but we are also looking forward. We're not living in the moment at all. Just doing both at the same time. So we'll talk a little fall camp, good news, bad news, whatever it may be. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. If you don't, that's cool too, I guess. I'll forgive you, but comments are fine too. Before we get into the show, I'm going to tell you guys about our friends at Underdog. Underdog is Knoxville's best sports collectible store with a wide selection of UT cards, autographs, and memorabilia. Whether you're looking for a Peyton Manning autographed helmet or the most recent Topps baseball card release, you'll find it at Underdog. The shop is owned by UT graduates and proudly supports UT sports by hosting NIL events throughout the year. Stop by the 640 Plaza at 4452 Western Avenue in Knoxville. They're open 6 days a week with live YouTube shows 3 nights per week. Remember to always bet on the Underdog. Shout out to Underdog Collectibles. They've got a cool event going on this Saturday. It's Christian Moore and Blake Burke signing autographs. Make sure you go check them out. Every time we've done these NIL events with them, whoever it was, Amari Thomas was at one. Christian Moore's done one as well. They're just it's a great time. Great dudes. So make sure you go check that out. Take the kids. If you don't have a kid, you go yourself, whatever. It's a lot of fun. So go check that out this Saturday, noon, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's something like that. I'll have to double check.
It might end at noon, so maybe.
Yeah, I think it actually is a little earlier because I think it said like event is over by noon.
10 to noon kind of makes me think it might be something like that.
Don't trust our word. Just
never. Do your own research.
Yeah. Don't hold us liable. Go check out Underdog's Twitter page or YouTube channel and get the details.
Yeah, even on Instagram. Joey shared it the other day. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't aware. I wasn't in the know. So make sure you check that out. Let's talk Alabama. Oh my! I tried to do what Landon did. I tried to get some context to it. I didn't do as good. I'm sorry. I waited last minute. So this is a quick Google search. But let's lay the groundwork. Let's go back to that fateful day, October 15th, 2022. College game day is back in Knoxville for the second time this season. It's somehow more electric than the first. First college game day in Knoxville is fantastic. Joey was there. He brought us a Gatorhead. Don't know where he got it, but it worked out. College game day's back. There are several good games this week. Utah USC played this week. I'm trying to remember all of the games. I think Duke and North Carolina had a mediocre thriller, but a thriller nonetheless. A lot of good games happening in college football, but there's one game that mattered. Top 10 matchup in Neyland. For the first, I will tell you every year we're going to beat Alabama. I'll do it. I'm sorry, I will. I don't necessarily always believe it, but I'll say it. This is the first time I can ever remember really feeling like we were going to beat Alabama.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the buildup was something that, again, I've only, being on campus is one thing and being around Knoxville, and obviously I lived away from Knoxville for a stint. But I've gotten to experience some really cool things in person and just in general, even from being far away, the buildup for certain games. Like I said earlier, that's like the pinnacle of college football. You're not getting there's no better example for like college football than third Saturday in October, huge rivalry. Tennessee is being revived from this dead period. Just can't get over the Alabama hump. I think they were I think the stats said 26 straight losses to top 5 teams. You're just beaten down. Tennessee fans are excited to be back. You can't portray into words the energy that Knoxville and the surrounding East Tennessee area had for this day.
That was absolutely insane. This was my first win I ever saw in person over Alabama. My family's had season tickets my whole life, much longer than that, but my whole life. We only have 2, and I have 3 brothers, 4 of us total. We would get to pick games. Oldest went first. So I didn't get to go to Alabama. I didn't get to start going to Alabama games until both my older brothers were out of high school, so they were no longer in the house, so they did not get first pick anymore. So I think my first Alabama game would have been probably 2008.
Yeah, that would have been.
And we were losing by then.
Yeah. I think that was the last year that we would have won this 2007 2008 season, I guess.
06.
06. My math's not there.
No, mine's not either. I'm trying to do it.
I was told there would be no math, but
05 was the last win. Is that right?
Wasn't it 15 straight years that we lost?
17. So that's right.
17?
Or is it? Oh God! Now I'm questioning myself. That's how good this win felt, though, is that I blocked out the
Yeah,
losing
you negate
streak.
to
Like
think about any. Yeah, we've lost to them before. I mean, we're 1-0 in my book.
Exactly. The only stat that matters is the last
Exactly.
win.
I don't care what happened 10 years ago. Yeah, when you think about it, I was, depending on if you figure out what year the last win was, if it's even going on 2008, I was 7 years old. I mean, like we're talking.
Dylan, if you want to go to Winsipedia, Tennessee, type in Tennessee versus Alabama Winsipedia,
2006,
and it'll give you all your okay.
So I was 4.
We danced around that.
Yeah,
we were getting there.
I was almost 5, but 4 years old. So I don't even remember the last time that's happened. I've just only known a life of really losing to Alabama. That's it.
It's just a terrible life too. But like we said, this day felt different. Orange Out was announced, and I know like everyone's like technically isn't every game in Orange Out. That is the most I love Checker Neyland. Seeing nothing but orange, and then especially seeing all orange on the field was one of the most beautiful sights of all time.
Yeah, especially dude when it gets dark in the orange, like with the orange lights, the new lights and everything, it makes such a it's so good. Well, because everyone thinks like it's always an orange out, but you surprised how much like white and neutral tones you get. You get a lot of gray,
a lot of
white,
like,
orange logos, and it's always all over the place. When you can actually structure something, it looks like there's more people too. When everyone's in the same color and it just looks like a wave of people, you're gonna get so much better of an effect.
Yeah, and so it was a good day. Good tailgate if you made it. A lot of fun. Pretty much everyone that left, I told them this is how confident I was. I was like, I will see you at the 50-yard line. It's happening tonight. I was making sure before everybody left, I checked to make sure their cigars were cut and ready because not everyone's got a cutter on them. We were smoking those things.
Was this your orange suit day? Tracksuit day?
This was the debut of my orange jumpsuit.
Man, if you weren't there to see that in person, I hate to say it, you're never going to experience something like that. But I mean, you can try next year, come to the tailgates, but seeing Caleb and that's a sight for sore eyes.
I had my apron on too while cooking.
Yeah, you were chefing the burgers up for hours straight.
Good God, dude! Cooking on a 18-inch grill, like 120 burgers, not fun.
Yeah, not to mention it's pretty hot outside. You're in front of a grill.
Yeah,
brutal. That was a great tailgate. I did a little better. I didn't have to run a full marathon and back to get to the tailgate.
Yeah, you were there for a while.
Yeah, I didn't carry the gator head. I didn't have a greasy gator head seeping through a brown paper bag all over me that the smell took 3 weeks to get off. It worked out a lot better. I felt like that was the sign that we actually had a chance to do something magical that day. I probably should have taken it and ran with it.
Yeah, for sure. Then, I mean, golly, the stadium was just electric from the beginning. Smokey 10 gets in on the action. I've never seen him that hype running through the tee. It was glorious. I will say this, as much as I remember that day, I forgot how much Tennessee dominated from the jump. We didn't dominate the whole time. I'm not saying that, but from the jump, offense and defense played really good.
Yeah, no, going back and watching, I mean, game wide was pretty significant, but yeah, the start that you have just between, the not a great return for Alabama, but then they also get the blocking penalty, crowd's going nuts. Ja'Cory Brooks gets like 1 yard before he gets taken down. Gibbs gets taken down by Big O. I mean, like just the perfect, really, like realistically, that's as good of a first drive and the crowd just going crazy. I mean, it's hard to remember that in the midst of everything going on in that day, but great start.
Yeah, and I'll say this: maybe there's something to kick into the south end zone to start. Put the opposing offense in front of the student section for the first drive.
I agree.
I think there might be something to it, and I will say this because you see Bryce Young come into his own after quarter and a half, maybe a little bit less than that, quarter and a quarter. Toradol shot may have been a little strong at the beginning of the game. They might have juiced him up a little too much. It took him a minute, but I mean, dude, our defense was so physical. I mean, our line was. I mean, you mentioned Amari Thomas. He just made them look weak. I don't know what else to say. Like he made him look dumb, and it wasn't. He's a defensive tackle. It wasn't anything super fancy. He just was the most physical player on the field, and it was. You don't see that with Tennessee and Alabama in the last 15 years. Like they've been physically dominant, and that was so. I don't remember it like that. I don't.
Yeah. Well, there was some sort of like magic. I mean, everyone was playing 110%, especially to start the game. Like there was just. But, I mean, game-wide, I mean, some of the hits that Bryce Young was taking were – I mean, these are some of the most aggressive football I'll be the first to talk about Tennessee's lack of ability to really wrap around somebody and tackle and not, duck off and stuff. But I mean, oh my God, some of the hits were insane. Now, I can say I am glad I did not have to listen to that game on TV live, because after about 5 minutes of Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson just loving Bryce Young's ability to somehow you would have thought that he's coming back from a torn ACL or something. I mean, this guy had like significantly
his shoulder was mentioned
banged
a
up
lot.
shoulder,
Yeah.
and they are just like, oh, there's no doubt about his shoulder now. I think they mentioned it probably 5 times in the first.
They said that
10
at
plays.
least 3 times before the first half. No, there's no doubt about his shoulder now. And I was like, I thought we stopped doubting 10 minutes ago. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, they mentioned it like 10 times during the game. Like it kept being a thing. And we can talk about it now, because usually we get mad about it and it's because Tennessee lost with it, so we just look like sore losers. That we won that game. We played amazing. I can still say that they just had Bryce Young in them the whole time. I mean, you could, even when Tennessee made a nice play, you're like, you don't sound that excited, but something happens for Bama. Gosh, you would think that it was whatever.
Well, it's funny too. Up until one moment, I thought in my head, I wasn't, the dumb Bryce Young comments, but I feel like that's every broadcast, like the dumb one about no doubt. I feel like a lot of broadcasters make those mistakes of kind of walking all over words they've already said. They're also not young. They probably shouldn't be doing that. But my favorite one where I was like, all right, never mind, this is atrocious. Because I was like, it's not that bad. I probably could have watched this game on TV and not been super angry. The Alabama muff punt in the second quarter.
Yeah.
If you didn't have much of an understanding for football, you would have been like, that play doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things at all.
Yeah.
They were like, and
Tennessee
he
does
muffed
have
it.
the ball.
He muffed it. Tennessee football. I was like, what?
And then
even if I'm an Alabama fan,
yeah.
I'm which I know they're not supposed to be fans. If I'm a fan of football in general, I'm losing my mind on that play.
No, yeah, I mean, I think who was Bama's returning back? It wasn't Brooks, was it? I don't remember
who was.
They went straight to defense mode. They were like, "Oh, he must have." Yeah, he must have thought that he already had touched it, and so he went and picked it up and stuff. And it was no great play on Tennessee to jump on top of it or anything. It was
which I kind of thought
mode.
that originally. I was like, I think that guy thought it got touched, but as I'm watching the play 4 or 5 times they show it on this broadcast, I don't know how he possibly could have thought that. There's no one around the ball. McKinstry does get near it, but not that close to it. And then nobody else reacts. There's no
not
one on
enough
the field
to
that reacts to
assume
the
that
ball.
you're like, live ball, I got to jump on top of it. And then
even then,
I
don't know what he
doesn't
was
jump
doing.
on top of it. He tries to pick it up and run with it, running backwards. Like that's just
I think my man legitimately tried to be a hero. He was a kid from Birmingham. I looked it up. Can't remember his name now. I think he might have been trying. And then my favorite thing is like 2 drives later, they find this poor kid on the bench, helmet still on, just staring into space. He knows he's not going to see the field again. He's aware.
Yeah.
Nick Saban losing his mind was fun too.
Dude. I mean, I saw it. I got a glimpse of it on the sideline, and I couldn't remember if they were showing on the Jumbotron. Everything kind of morphs together from those events, especially this is definitely not my first time. This is only my second time watching the full game, but I've watched the highlights like 10 times at least already, like 30-minute highlights.
Yeah.
I mean, that image of him literally having a brain aneurysm on the sidelines, probably coming within 5 to 10 BPMs of a stroke or a heart attack on the sidelines. I mean,
yeah. I almost had one that night, so he had to be at least that close.
And so, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed that image because I could just, that frustration for some. I mean, Nick Saban gets mad at way less, and that was a huge mess up. So that was awesome to see.
Yeah. Kind of going back to the first drive too. Josh Heupel's scripts. I hope it's mostly Josh Heupel because obviously losing Alex Golish, he scripts fantastically, and I mean I think there's a balance to him where he can go off script. That's very clear. He can coach in game. Whereas like I feel like there were times where you look at Butch Jones, you're like, man, that was a really good scripted drop. Like we came out of the gate good, and then it all fell apart after that. But Josh Heupel's really good at it. It's so weird. I don't know about you. I feel like there is a predictability to it. And maybe it's because I watch Tennessee every game. But I feel like I know what's coming, but they set it up. Josh Heupel does a really good job of being unique in formations, making defenses play off balance. He does a good job of using motion. So I feel like that helps the predictability a little bit. But they still execute, so I don't know why. I don't know. And again, maybe it's watching Tennessee football a lot. And because I don't remember these plays down for down by any means.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I agree there's a predictability aspect to it, but at the same time, the skill level, and again, that's going to be one of those things we have to see if it, translates to this season and in the future, is like that predictability was still gassing people left and right. I mean, yeah, Josh Heupel's going to use the entire field. He's going to spread receivers all the way out and really try to create as much space as possible. And I mean, I know we'll touch on it throughout the game, but Tennessee does have a lot of speed, obviously, still in wide receiver. But when you look at Jalen Hyatt's ability to create space just off the rip against a safety that just simply is not as fast as him. If he can,
Right.
if he can, like, that's all it was. I mean, that's why he had 5 touchdowns this game. Even if you plug in someone that, is maybe 60, 70% as fast and an athlete as him, you got to hope that, I mean, I know I don't want to, down talk or anything, but that difference maker there is just enough. I mean, watching him just burn, it wasn't like crazy route running or anything. He's just burning people. It's great setup, great scripting, like you said, and then just elite speed.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not I mean, there's predictability to every offense. And part of it too is like, you kind of have to be, if you want to be unpredictable, you kind of have to be predictable to some degree. So I'm not like dogging Josh Heupel. If anyone's like, you're an idiot, I'm not saying he's a bad coach for it. I think he does it really well. It's just like, it kind of fascinates me. Comment on Jalen Hyatt thing. I mean, Tennessee replaces that with replaces the speed at least. Jalen Hyatt's catching ability was drastically improved, but he almost had a drop in this game. He was so wide open, I'm sure it freaked him out. I think the ball bounced in his hands, but I am curious to see what happens this year. But a guy Ramel Keaton, who, golly, he was so, I didn't realize how crucial he was to the last few games.
He over that spread of games from Florida to this game, and I mean, I know season wide, but even in this game by himself, there was a couple times where I was like, this dude's, you put a ball within 5 feet around him in a circle, and he's gonna like make some sort of insanely unhuman like or athletic catch to get his hands on that ball.
Yeah, he was been. I knew how important he was. I just didn't realize the role, how crucial that role was. Florida game comes up huge several times. Important in the LSU game, and then if the ball's thrown a little bit better, he catches a touchdown that would have put Tennessee up. Would have been 35-17, I think.
Are you talking about
the end of the half?
You talking about the one that
4th and 6 at the end of the half?
The overthrow?
Yeah.
The one that, okay.
I was barely overthrown.
Yeah, and Hennon was obviously like a little upset about that, thinking that he should have just kept running, but I do think that was definitely an overthrow. I mean, you can't. It was
a hair overthrown.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess in theory, if you want to say if you kept running and just perfectly caught it over your shoulder, but I mean, I think he saw that it was already deep anyway, and he basically gave everything he had to jump towards that ball and was this short on the grab.
Yeah. It was unfortunate, and that would have been huge. Alabama goes down and kicks a field goal, I think, to only be down 8 at halftime. So, the momentum swing that would have been. And I talked about Bryce Young, like, seeming to kind of come around. Toradol finally got it down to the right level, or they gave him an extra shot on the sideline. I don't know what happened, but he seemed to play like Heisman Bryce Young there down the stretch of the second quarter. Him and, dude, Jahmyr Gibbs is so good.
He's so good.
So good.
I know that he's just now I've started to see some things on Twitter about him in camps and stuff for the NFL. And I know that they said it. I'm not piggybacking off of them. Like, I remember thinking this right when I was watching it. I mean, he embraces the Alvin Kamara vibe. Like, he's got he even like just the way he there was a play where he caught some space to the left side of the field. And the way he ran reminded me of Alvin Kamara's run against the Packers, where he almost like looked like he wasn't running, but was still running full speed and just like catching blocks up ahead. And just his shiftiness. I mean, he made some people look absolutely stupid.
Yeah, Christian Charles.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
No,
it's
ugly.
bad. But they mentioned it. I will give CBS credit. They're like, can you even consider that a missed tackle? Because how you can't even touch the guy. Like, he's too shifty. Like, you can't. How are you going to put your hands on that guy? Yeah.
That was a very Alvin Kamara like play. Like, kind of like barely had the ball in his hands, and he's ready to turn the brakes on, be able to change direction. Like, it's incredible. He was that's another thing I meant to kind of mention this in the context of just the game. I know I'm a Tennessee fan, and this is like there is bias in this. This is one of the greatest football games I've ever seen. And if you're a college football fan, I don't know how you can't just purely enjoy this. I think I lost you. Oh, yeah, you're muted, Joey.
No, you're good.
All right. But yeah, one of the greatest college football games ever. Also, you mentioned how great the atmosphere was. I don't think I said anything. I don't think I said this. If every college football game was an ounce of this, realignment would never happen. You don't get this in the Pac-12.
100%. No, yeah, sorry. I had like 1,000 things going on. Yeah, best college. I mean, I can't. I mean, especially in terms of just a nationwide agreement coming to the same consensus of like this, and it's always a good feeling because again, I try to think back to like, let's say 5-6 years ago, just growing up, I was always like, I mean, living up north, I always worked Tennessee stuff, and like everyone thought like Tennessee, so I got to see the side of like no one pays attention to Tennessee football,
right?
Like 2016, and stuff. Like obviously there's like a little bit of hype, but no one sees that. So it's so cool to like get on Twitter and just see people like nationwide being like, that was the greatest football game I've ever seen. Like that was awesome. So being able to be like
or something like that.
Yeah. Like it was just, you physically can't get better than that. And what I realized watching it back, I think every time I watch it back, I notice more things, but just the random breaks that happen that like, if one certain thing doesn't happen, like Tennessee could totally lose that game. I mean, there's like 6 or 7 different instances just within the last 7 or 8 minutes of the fourth quarter that I'm like, that is a lucky break or just a huge play. I think, I don't want to jump to the end, obviously, like try to stay in somewhat of
no, just, we could jump around. We can jump around.
Jeremy Banks, bless him. I guess, I mean, he did play. I'll give him props. He had some
he played well.
And I think a lot of it, kind of like, a little toe beef, just trying to like be the better back. And if he didn't put pressure on Bryce Young 2 plays in a row or whatever on that last drive, I mean, they were already marching down the field anyway, but I mean, just saving a 3rd and 4th down, which not getting Reichert closer to the field goal. It's just absolutely huge.
You talk about breaks that did go Tennessee's way. I mean, Alabama's play calling down the stretch. They should have had the last play of the game. I don't know if Will Reichert makes it or not. I doubt it, but they should have had the final say. And for some reason, which I say for some reason, you do have Bryce Young, but you also still have Jahmyr Gibbs to hand the ball to. Yeah. So it blows my mind. But that break did go Tennessee way. But Tennessee also, I mean, they had some bad breaks. They spotted Alabama 7 points on a bad read option that, I mean, it sucks because, I mean, obviously, Hendon played super well. This game would have been on repeat in New York had he won the Heisman. And then Jalen Wright and Jabari Small both played really well. And so, like, that's a crappy play to just, I thought, in the game for Tennessee.
Yeah, I feel
at the
like
time, obviously I didn't think that now.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I know the outcome.
I felt like in that moment for some reason, and I mean, I've felt that horrid, dreaded Tennessee feeling where it's like, oh, here we go. Okay, I knew this was too good to be true. Something's coming. The karma's on the other end. But for some reason on that play, like it just being a scoop and score right away instead of letting there be time to build a momentum of, okay, now they got the ball back, they get a couple plays to score and stuff. Like we were right back on the field after they kicked the extra point, and like somehow the crowd was, because I think what was it? What was the score after that? 49-42?
It was, so that tied it at 49. Sorry. That put them up 49-42. Sorry.
So I mean, and there's not that much time left in the game at that point. So you're kind of really creeping in, but for some reason, I don't know how, I just felt somewhat trusting that, like, I think the crowd was just still into it and stuff. And I think you had to be there, kind of like actually feel that everyone was like, no, we're good. Like we've played insane the whole game. And then I knew the game was in safe hands when I'm watching on TV. When did the throw up happen? What was that like? That could have been right after.
Golly. When was that?
It was towards the end. I think there was maybe 4 or 5 minutes left.
Was it? So I was trying to think. Was it on our last full drive, not the kick? It might have been. That was a long drive, so that would make somewhat of sense. I know it was late. Yeah, it was late in the game. I think it was that drive. We had a 4.5 minute drive to end the game, which that's what's crazy too, is to not only bounce back from that fumble 6, but to also put together a complete drive, not one play hit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking back at the notes, it was the fumble, scoop and score and stuff, and then Ramel Keaton makes a nice catch. You get to the 4th down, but you get really saved by a defensive pass interference call.
Yeah, I mean that was the game. That would have been the game for sure.
And then
You've been down
Jeremiah Crawford
14
throws up
in
and
4
stares
minutes.
at someone. But yeah, I mean, there was 2 pass interferences that really saved us, and obviously the one at the end, that's the interception that looks like it's going back for a pick six. You're melted. You're done. You're dead.
Yeah.
That's it. It's over. It's the same feeling when you think Florida's about to return an onside kick. You forget that they're spotted at the ball.
Right.
You're just like, that's it. And then I watched. I mean, I've seen it several times. I do understand that it's an underthrown ball and that things get a little gray there, but I could have seen them not calling that. Like, it wasn't a egregious, and it was so late. It was like they threw it like 20 seconds after us.
It probably wasn't in the camera. The first person that called it, because that's what Alabama fans say, the first person that called it was the back judge.
Okay.
From the center, and I don't think his flag necessarily got there. He called it.
Yeah, because I remember watching.
Yeah,
it,
he calls it immediately, and then the back judge on that side then calls it, then throws his flag late. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. It's not. I won't ever say it's super egregious, but Alabama fans pretend it's not a penalty, and I'm fine if you want to say I'm an Alabama fan. That's why I'm saying it. I'm the same way. But it was a clear pass. Like, it was obvious enough to call. I'm not saying like,
yeah. Well, I think we get
that should always be called. It's a pretty common play for that defender to make it. It helps that I think it was Fant jumped. I think that made it the pull more obvious. If he's on the ground, you probably don't see that.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of that issue that we run into where
also maybe a makeup call. I'll say it. Tennessee got robbed. It would have been 4th and 16, and they call a pass interference on Deshaun Rucker after he's the one who got shoved in the back of the end zone. So reset of downs from the 2-yard line, and Alabama scores a touchdown after that. So it might have been a makeup call. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's just like I guess that's how the game goes, right? Like, we lost one here, got one here.
Ours was more crucial. We got the more crucial one.
Yeah, at the end, you can't complain, because at the end of the game, it came down to you had. Yes, you could have been closer, I guess, but I mean, you had the game to win. Like, it was tied, not really any pressure. You have a field goal that was in the 40 yards, maybe 41, something like that.
I think theirs was 50. Yeah. 50
okay.
yards.
So I mean, it was lengthy, but I mean,
that's another thing. He made him kick Saban made him kick a 50 instead of even just trying to get it like, hey, we're going to run the ball and we're at least going to be in the middle of the field last play. And he sets him up on the right hash, which maybe some kickers do prefer it. I can't imagine a right-footed kicker would want right hash. That's usually opposite.
Yeah.
But yeah, he puts him on the right hash from 50 yards by choice. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, and just in that sequence, you're thinking that, like, just the way, like, I mean, Bama's been here a billion times before. You're like, they are holding, they got the hammer tied. They're working their way down the field. Tennessee's still putting some good pressure and holding some breaks, but right when it's 3rd down or whatever, and you're like, oh, here's the stop. Bryce Young just finds, someone somehow wide open in the secondary for 10, 15 yards.
Right.
And you're starting to get into panic mode. Like, okay, are we going to pull out 2016 Georgia? Like, in my head, I'm already thinking we're down 3. We're going to have 15 seconds to get down the field. I don't know how, but some sort of, Josh Dobbs Hail Mary and stuff. And so, I mean, I know it's not safe to pencil it in, but just the way that the game management's coming, you really start to worry that you're like, okay, well, they've got it's in their basket.
Yeah.
Bama usually doesn't mess up that opportunity. And so it's really hard to believe that how it happened. But the football gods were with Tennessee.
The play too, the previous touchdown drive, not the fumble 6, that was one of the most incredible heads up plays I've ever seen live. That was the Bryce Young little flip to Latu in the end zone. Is that how you say it? Or tight end.
Yeah.
Tennessee played pass coverage really, really well. Like, credit to the secondary on that play and the linebackers. And Bryce Young goes to scramble, and they made a play on him. Like, he would have been down short. It would have been that would have been turnover on downs. And he is somehow able to find him and flips it to. I mean, it was one of those, like, at that point, Tennessee was still up. No, Tennessee went down. No, yeah. Tennessee was tied. It was a tie game. And I was kind of in the boat of like, yeah, Bryce Young he's having an Alabama game. Like, he's having it. And I started to worry. And then that fumble 6 happened. And God, that was tough. It was an incredible game, though. It was an absolutely incredible game. There was a lack of defense from both sides. At times, like I said, Tennessee's defense, they had some bad lapses, but all in all, it wasn't as ugly as I remember. Especially, like I said, the first quarter, I mean, played really well.
It's not. I mean, when you look at the stats, you don't really understand how Bryce Young was able to get so many yards other than big chunk plays, just because it didn't feel like he was tearing you up and down the field. You know, Tennessee secondary definitely was the place with some gaps. I felt like up front,
really well. I mean,
you were getting back to the quarterback. I mean, you were putting a lot of pressure on Bryce Young. Not only did he take a lot of big hits that game, but he's also, I mean, we'll call it where it should be called. I mean, Bryce Young can, maneuver a pocket pretty damn well. I mean, there were some plays where it's frustrating because you're like, just tackle the guy. He's got 10 seconds back there. But I mean, when you weigh 320 pounds trying to go after this tiny dude and he's just zigzagging everywhere, he's very elusive. And so he saved himself a lot buying that much time. And so you're right. I mean, I think the defense played, again, when you look at it in the box score and stuff, you're like,
it's ugly in the box score.
Yeah.
And when I remember it, I only remember like the highlights for both teams. And so I only remember Alabama scoring 49 points.
Yeah. And so it really was weird to break. Even now, like thinking back, I'm like, it wasn't like, there was no moments where I'm like, oh my God, they're dogging us. It was just a shootout. Yeah. It was a knockout back and forth. Just whoever's going to get the last touchdown.
I would like to see, I hate that I'm like hyping Bryce Young up because he played for Alabama, but he's incredible. I would like to see you have yards after contact for running backs, just like yards after contact total. How many passing yards happened after Bryce Young got touched? How many rushing yards did he get after? It was an all-time performance.
Yeah, like also, even like a percentage of how many completed passes after he's already been touched in the pocket would be probably insane.
I mean, let's go to the guy in orange though, Hendon Hooker. Freaking stand up. I mean, he's one of the, I don't know if he's just so smooth. I kind of, now that we're like, I mean, almost 8 months removed from like the last time seeing him play in orange, more than that. It was in November.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's like, I kind of already have forgotten of how the dude has shake. I don't know if that's how you say it, but it's not super fast. It's smooth, but it's not like the smoothest.
Yeah.
But he makes defenders fall on their heels. He makes guys miss. It's incredible. He's incredible too. I mean, he had a game. He played better than anyone else would on that night against an Alabama offense that found firepower. And he only threw the ball 30 times.
Yeah. It's an interesting, when you look at it, he's like, his body type isn't one that you would genuinely consider to do what he does. And I think that's why it looks so smooth, is because he's just kind of like, it doesn't look right, but it works so well. Like he's not, if he was shorter and stockier and stuff, it would look like a lot more movie. And then if he was bigger, Joe Milton size, it would just be clunkier and stuff. He's just like the perfect mix.
Perfect.
Like he'll just be at the 20-yard line, and you're like, he's just scrambled to the 45 and made it look like he was just catching to the first down. Yeah. So definitely something we're gonna miss, but we can, fingers crossed that. I mean, that's a discussion for a different day, but.
Yeah, no, that's kind of like, I started texting some people about the quarterback situation this year watching this game, because that's how important Hendon was to the success of this offense the whole season, but specifically that day. I mean, his one blunder, I guess two, depending on who you blame the zone read on. Quarterback's probably blaming on the running backs probably blaming on the QB room. It is what it is. But then that interception is just really unfortunate.
It's his first of the season too. I mean, it's a mistake. Like, if that is his mistake, like, I'm okay with that. Like, it was just kind of pressured, not the best plant foot when he's throwing it. It's just kind of quick and fidgety. I mean, it would have been, but for what it's worth. And I don't think, I mean, I think that was more of a miscommunication. I mean, I didn't see it from the other angle. I think it was just the handoff was, was it Jabari Small that took it?
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure. I think he thought that, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, no, he thought he was keeping it. And
he thought he was yanking it back, and I think it was just probably 50-50.
I don't even remember. I think it was a bad read from Hendon too. I think he should have kept it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he went off. He broke off on the left side, and you had a block moving off on the left tackle spot that looked like, especially with Jabari Small, probably could have made a hole and pressure coming on the right side.
So Hendon should have gave it. It was Jabari. Jabari's mistake. Is that what we're saying?
I mean,
I'm talking about just the read, not the actual exchange. For some reason, I thought I remember it being a bad read from Hendon. But
like you think Hendon should have kept it, or you think that?
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly on the read that.
Yeah. I wasn't paying attention to that, like who was downfield
that the end
what it looked like, but
yeah, that the end went with Jabari, but I can't remember. I'd have to go back and watch it again. I skipped over that play because it was miserable, and I didn't skip over it, but I didn't pay attention. I didn't go back and watch it. I just let it play. I'll let Gary and Brad just get real excited and be done with it.
Super excited. Dylan said he thinks that Hendon should have kept it too,
right.
but well, he also mentioned the 20. Yeah, we didn't really talk about that. The fact that the end of the first quarter, Tennessee's up 21-7.
Yeah.
And that's not normal. And then even quick into the second quarter, you're up 28-10. Yeah, you're up 28-10. I mean, you got that was. I mean, I'm assuming that was you were up 18. That was the biggest lead, and then that's kind of when Bama gets it back to. I think it was it 28-17, and then you get into halftime, and then quickly after halftime, they kind of start
you went into halftime 28-7 to 28-20.
Okay. So, that's right. They got the field goal.
Alabama comes out and they drove the length of the field and then also converted a 2-point conversion. So like they punched right back at a halftime, and that's kind of like credit to like that's another thing. Tennessee's up 18 in the last probably 10 years, maybe more. Definitely more, at least last like 12 years. But maybe even more than that. Tennessee's up 18, gets back to a tie ball game. A lot of Tennessee teams I've seen play, they fold. And I'm not saying like they stop playing hard, something like that, fold. They just couldn't, for whatever reason, in recent history, move back. They couldn't fight back. This team, I mean, I'm gonna miss that team so much.
Yeah. It's special. And I mean, like, look at that. When you go into halftime, a coach like Saban and the coaching staff that he has at Bama and just a team of that stature, they're going to kind of figure out what was going wrong in the first half. And you can expect them to come out and kind of, if Tennessee's not on the ball quick and ready, they're going to catch up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I really impressed with how Tennessee was able to kind of, I mean, that's just something we haven't seen before. Even anytime Tennessee's had a glimmer of hope against a team like Bama or Florida, it feels like, second half or something, you slip it, you make mistakes when the other team, the veteran team is going to, step up where they need to step up and you slip. And that's not what happened. And so it's very refreshing to see that.
Right. Dylan's not listening to the podcast. We've already mentioned that.
Yeah. I mean, Dylan, you got to figure it out. I don't know what's going on. He's eating his cool wrap or whatever from Chick-fil-A.
I did go back and watch this play. Hendon probably should have kept it. But it wouldn't have been a gain. Unfortunately, Henry To'oTo'o played it really well, so credit to him.
I don't remember To'oTo'o having a huge game. He didn't.
He didn't play exceptionally great. He did make a few really good plays. He made a really good play on Hendon in the second quarter. I think on most linebackers, that's a first down for him, and To'oTo'o played it really well. Yeah. It was. First off, he got beat, so suck it, Hank. But yeah, that was pisses me off still to this day. Transferring to freaking Alabama.
Yeah, it's a snake move, and
the shot of him crying in the locker room is my favorite thing in the world.
Oh, it's awesome. And look,
I guess he's on
people want to act like Tennessee fans are the devil for going at him. I don't want to hear it. When you start it by throwing first off subtle shade and then going directly at the team that you turned your back on.
Am I misremembering? He made like a hype video, right? Like,
yeah,
like I'm coming back to win hype video, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Like it was like,
or did Alabama put him at the forefront of theirs? Maybe that's what it was.
It was. I mean, I don't think he put anything out himself, but
okay.
Between Twitter and them posting that and him, I think in a couple practice, media after practice, he said something about like getting my get back and stuff like that. Like it's like this isn't a Jalen Hurts situation. This isn't like you screwed us. Like you left, you did your thing. You can act all tough, and I guess the football gods took care of it how it should have accordingly. But people act like we were wrong in that situation.
I remember what it was now. He, in whatever video it was, he said it was nothing personal. Because then you had Princeton Fant in the locker room.
Personal or whatever. Or he says nothing personal.
And then does the little celebration.
Yeah.
Little To'oTo'o celebration. Yeah, that's what it was.
That's great. I do think that's what I think that's what got my pal Jeremy Banks fired up for that game. I do think there was a little bit of a.
Uh-huh.
I wish that would have stayed consistent throughout the year. Maybe against a team like South Carolina, that was kind of a big game for us.
This shows that you're a big man that you can admit when he's playing good. That's good. You don't just have like blinders on, in your opinion. So that's
I try
strong.
to remain somewhat fair.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, really, the only thing I could talk more about this game is what ensued post game, and I'm happy to, but we'd be here all night. But you know how it goes.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got it. Chase McGrath from 43 yards.
Yeah,
it's a
knuckleball. Okay, well, okay. Two things. So one, just really quick, the two last passes. I mean, just the way that was ran. You got 15 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, we didn't talk about this. Good point.
Hendon Hooker's. I mean, the team's game management in that situation, but Hendon Hooker's ability to get those two passes off are so under talked about because obviously just the chaos that ensued within that last little bit and everything after no one had time to. But I mean, when you watch those back, it is like the first one was to Ramel Keaton on a beautiful play and not much room. And then the second one to Brew McCoy just got stuffed into the breadbasket, like right where it needed to be. Got down with 3 seconds. Everyone forgets for a second that after a first down, the clock stopped. Everyone's like,
who the hell is operating the clock though?
I don't know. Well, because
it is so abundantly clear that Tom should have been like, I'm trying to figure out how that happens.
And it just kept running. And then everyone in the crowd's like kind of confused. It's the same thing that happened with the third down markers where both sideline people's were marked third down, which means either they both suck or one sucks and the other one really sucks because he just sees what the other guy's doing and keeps the same down and doesn't actually pay attention to the play. But everyone's like,
he may just not be a confident human being because if I'm that guy, and I see it's second down, I'm just assuming I'm wrong when I look across the field and he's got third, and I'm switching as fast as I can.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I would be so scared of being wrong.
Which was probably the case. He probably had fourth. And he was like, I don't want to be that guy. That's all. I'm just going to change it. It was third. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, really, really crazy two plays there to get in that position because who knows? I mean, I'm sure Nealon would have stayed rocking for overtime, but just, I mean, that last 15 seconds was the best execution of getting that down as you're going to get.
I love that Josh Heupel too. Josh Heupel, he's going in that situation. And I don't know, I don't know what he does if Hendon says no, because he asked him, what do you want to do here? Mm-hmm. Take it to overtime or go for it? And Hendon's all right, ride or die in that moment. Let's go.
Yeah.
Josh Heupel wanted to go. So I don't know if he just was like, this is how I'm going to get Hendon to go, make him make the decision. I'm curious what happens if he says no. If he's like, I feel comfortable in overtime. Let's get this bad boy to overtime.
Yeah. I have a hypothetical that I haven't ever, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was talked about after. I really didn't. I don't think I probably missed so many things after that game that were talked about on Twitter from people that weren't at the game. So I could have missed the discussion. Did it it looks like there is a chance that a slight inch of a fingernail might have touched that ball to make it because it comes off clean.
Yeah, it's been touched. It's been talked about a lot. I think it might have been touched too. Because it doesn't look hit.
It gets really close. It the first two rotations that you can see in frame are forward, and the moment it gets past the hand, it's so little that you don't see anything, and there was really no attention paid to it, but it just changes directions and starts knuckleball and sideways like they said. So
the only reason I'm like, I don't think, and if it was touched, it was so small that I'm blanking on his name. I don't think he noticed because usually those guys, when they get something on it, they just assume it's blocked before they even know. So they usually get up and start celebrate. He didn't react.
Yeah. No, it would have had to been the tip of his glove that didn't.
He may not have even known that he got a finger to it.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't matter because it went in. And you're right. Chaos ensued.
It was it was so fantastic.
I can't.
Shout out to all I think just about every child made that night has been born now. So shout out to all those kids. Proud of your parents.
I would love to see the demographics on that. I mean, it's got to be just a wicked boom in Knoxville and the greater
I think
East Tennessee area.
Probably, all of Tennessee. I think you got to go the entire state of Tennessee and then within a 5-hour drive of Knoxville. Let's get all the hospital records and see what the birth rates have skyrocketed in the last month.
Well, I'm sure Bama's was probably pretty bad too. There's probably a good amount of love making between siblings. Feeling that being that sad, you got to have some sort of consolation prize.
Yeah. That was probably a really sad night for those folks. I don't know if any children were born. I wonder if they named them Chase and Jalen and Hendon.
Children might have been sad. There actually might be negative children made that night. Some kids might have been sacrificed.
There have been. I mean, there's been a lot of stories in Alabama. I don't think there's been any in Knoxville recently since I've been reading the news. But I mean, a lot of stories in good old Alabama about people getting shot after Alabama loses. It's like a very common thing. I mean, there were like one Alabama fan murdered trees over it.
Yeah.
Which shout out to I'm blanking on the name. Tumors Corner. Is that it? It's back. They're rolling it again.
Tumors
at Auburn.
Yeah.
They're rolling it again.
Yeah.
The oak trees are alive and well.
Legal,
they're ready,
I guess, which is they didn't do anything about it in the first place. So like I don't know why they're saying like
they've still been doing it.
Well, did they shut it off? Well, because the way that when I read the headline, it said legally allowed to, so I just thought that it's still been happening. But
then maybe it's been like some people,
illegally,
but now it'll probably be like
two people get arrested. And they're like, you can't, but now it's allowed,
right?
Which I think
that's a super weird tradition, but I think it's very cool.
I think it's cool. I think it's one of those that like it's kind of cool if it's not allowed, but you still do it, and they just like don't say anything about it. I think it's kind of like it's kind of dumb to be like, okay, guys, come do it. Then you got like staff and stuff like sitting around. And you're like, okay, come on, start doing it. You're like, that's
kind of Harvey. Like it is Harvey Updike's fault. Like, all right, I'm all with like protect the trees. I'm on that train. Like intentionally killing them. It's pretty messed up. I mean, that's honestly that might be worse than like murdering a person. To me,
it's fair.
I feel like it takes a lot more effort to drive 2 hours, buy the correct pesticides to murder these trees than it would to just like shoot someone.
I agree. There's a lot of planning and prep to go into it. But I mean, that night, don't know much of anything but chaos. The strip. I would love to just be now that I've done everything and I've seen it. I would like to just be maybe in one of the apartments on the strip and just watch, like just sit up there for an hour or two, drink, smoke your cigar, and just
listen
watch.
to the scanner, the police scanner. Too.
Oh my god!
Like having them going on in the background. Awesome. Naked guy with a field goal post is in the middle of the street. Let's take care of that real quick, please. Just get him some clothes, send him on his way. He'll make it home fine. I wish I'd gone to the strip. I was very tired. Like I thought maybe close to death, like that potentially, which I was okay with. But
were you guys pretty quick to the tailgate spot right after the game and just pack up your stuff and go, or
not quick? Well, we pack up before we go to the game.
Yeah,
so we didn't have to pack up. We were, I mean, we stayed on the field until they kicked us off.
Yeah.
Like they were like, get off the field. I was like, make me. And they did. But yeah, so I saw someone carrying a DJ, like I guess Stir of the Pearls, like DJ table. Like
there was a lot of, I mean,
I asked the guy, where'd you get that? He's like, I don't know.
I saw on Reddit, there was actually like a top 15 things taken from the field during the game. A lot of like the field goals take the stage, obviously, but there's a lot of cool things taken. Someone got Henry To'oTo'o's mouthpiece, I think we talked about, and someone had like the helmet and stuff. Yeah, I mean that's freaking cool.
So I think I will say I don't know the guy personally, so I'll just tell the story. So Brew McCoy, someone ended up with Brew McCoy's helmet. Friend of a friend, maybe, I don't know, but I know the guy through like 3 levels.
Not enough. So
apparently he gets up to Brew McCoy. I don't know the guy's name. This has been told to me. Apparently he gets up to Brew McCoy after the game. Maybe lights a cigar, I don't know. And he's like, give me something. And Brew's like, he's like, I don't have anything. And he's like, give me your helmet. He's like, I can't, like, I'll get in trouble. Like, I can't do that. And he's like, please, like, just let me have your helmet. And Brew's like, all right, but you have to leave like right now. Like you have to put it on, like you have to take it and go. And the dude's like, all right. And he left as soon as he got the helmet. So he didn't stay for the whole celebration. He got the helmet and went back to his tailgate.
That's awesome.
Oh, I mean, like,
it's just in like a box.
I would never give. Yeah. Oh, I mean, that would be right behind me right now.
I would. Oh, for sure. I would do anything for that. I mean, we did the field. I mean, we followed the field goal out, and obviously.
Did you go to the river? Or did you go strip?
No, we went.
Which field goal did you go with?
Strip. So kind of stayed back to the left of it a little bit. Once everyone was trying to get a hand on it, when like it was almost easier to like stay off to the left a little bit and just like walk with everybody, and then got down to Fraternity Park, and from there. Stuff got lit on fire rather like quick, and like I guess I forget how quick fire burns because
it's gone.
I ran inside for about 7 to 10 minutes and came out, and like a massive like level 2 fire was going on. Fire trucks were jumping out. Oh, it was huge. You should have seen it. It was.
Is that the one? Was that the one? Didn't the farmhouse? Didn't that one get like close to catching on fire that night? Like, wasn't there a lot of stuff on fire?
I couldn't tell you. I just know.
I guess it's not near Fraternity Park, so
yeah, that one's tucked back like by the Domino's, but it used to be.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out Domino's, or Little Caesars, or whatever, or Little Caesars. Yeah, there was. I think it started with a couch, which naturally,
yeah, of course.
And then people were sitting on it. You're taking cool pictures of you sitting on a couch that's on fire, and then a porta potty, and then we tossed in a foosball table that didn't work anymore, and so
terrible.
smelled
potty?
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think things were just appearing like some sort of a video game server.
It sounds like you were kind of deep in on this, like you were into it.
For my personal reasons, I had nothing to do with it.
That's fair. That's fair.
I only watched.
Deny.
But yeah, that was I mean, I don't. It'd be weird to do it again, even if we beat Bama like for the next 4. I mean, until you win a national championship, that's like you're not gonna get much better celebration than that.
Right.
That has the same feeling to it. So overall, 11 out of 10 game. You're never gonna. I don't think for the rest of my life. Who knows? But yeah, that will be the best day of my life until it's gonna be tight. I don't. Yeah, I mean, you obviously get into the trouble of wedding day and when your kids come, but
that's okay.
If
your kids are big enough Tennessee fans, they'll understand. They'll support you fully. And that's so like, did you do your job as a parent? We'll find out.
Yeah, exactly. If my kids grow up and don't respect my opinion on that, then I obviously raise them wrong anyway, and it's a mute point. So.
Bingo. All right, we stayed on this for a long time. I'm not mad. I'm glad we did. But let's go to preseason top 25. I really don't have much for preseason top 25. I wanted to talk about this because it's obviously absurd that Tennessee's in the. This is the. Do I have the right one? I believe this is the AP poll that I have. Oh, this is ESPN.
Okay. I don't, dude. I just can't even use
Get out of here.
Anymore than I trust. I'm going off CBS, but that's just
cool. Let me double check the AP before I just get really mad and anger. Okay. The AP's that's right. Tennessee's at number 6. That's fine.
For AP or for which one are you looking at?
For AP.
Okay.
Is that what CBS has? Do they have the AP?
No, CBS has Tennessee at 10. This might be the coaches poll.
I think it is. I think Tennessee's 10 in the coaches poll. I think it's right.
These polls already.
Oh gosh, no, this isn't right. I'm looking at the wrong one. I was about to say 6 is not right.
Yeah, I don't think we're 6.
Have they released the AP? They have. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure they have. All right, let me get the right one here before I had an anger statement prepared, and I just want it to be correct. All right, we're good. My anger statement is prepared. LSU and Alabama being ahead of Tennessee is absurd. I just want to do the AP. Coaches, I respect the coaches a tad bit more until I find out who the coaches are on it, and then I'll thrash it like Bush Jones was on it last year. But yeah, how do you beat 2 teams last year? You don't I don't know. Maybe I think it's funny how little they seem to value Hendon and Jalen during the season. Now all of a sudden, oh, well, you lost a Biletnikoff winner and a Heisman candidate quarterback. Well, yeah, but you didn't respect that prior. So it's weird that all of a sudden it matters.
Yeah, right. No one wants to talk about how Hendon Hooker was a Heisman front runner and then, injury and stuff. You can say whatever, but now you don't want to talk about it. And then now you want to say, oh, well, you had this. And then.
And LSU and Alabama beat 0 teams in the top 10. Tennessee conveniently beat 2. And
yeah, well, I mean, I guess I get.
I get Clemson at 11. That's another one. I don't know. I have a problem with it. It's okay because it's AP and it's preseason and it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, but it does give me something to be angry about. Kind of like pre-test my blood pressure prior to football season actually starting.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point. I mean, I do think. I mean, obviously. I mean, it's poll. So, I mean, you can look at it based off the last season, obviously coming off. It's tricky to be like, oh, well, Tennessee beat both those teams and LSU obviously lost 3 games last season. 4?
Yeah. Yeah. And they look 4. And they look better at the end of the season. They do.
Yeah. So I think,
that credit.
Looking forward, I think obviously, I mean, LSU is pretty set in stone, and I think that's where a lot of it comes from. Again, it's preseason. You got LSU that's pretty set in stone. Bama's obviously questionable with the quarterback situation, and but I think just based off pure talent, Alabama's for the next 5 years, unless Alabama really tanks off,
right?
We're still going to have, even as much as Georgia gets the head place right now, Alabama is going to be over necessarily respected, and
right,
the expectations are going to be higher than maybe what they should be. So I mean, I can agree that maybe Alabama is a little too high, and I can definitely make the squeeze for LSU being too high. But I mean, I like where Tennessee's at necessarily. I mean, I think it is definitely questions of, reproducing that talent. Obviously, Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt are huge, and Darnell
Yeah,
Wright and
you
everything. So
Darnell Wright, Byron Young. There's losses to this Tennessee team for sure.
yeah, and again, that's why we don't. This is why we don't.
I
look
agree
at
with all your points. Yeah, I agree with all your points for sure. I feel like LSU and Alabama both kind of got there, like you mentioned, the unnecessary just respect for any reason. I feel like they got their spot almost by default. Like it was almost like, these other teams aren't that good, but LSU and Alabama are usually pretty good. So
I think it's a little bit of a pencil in. And again, that's the issue with the preseason polls. That when you outside of the top 5,
go look at ESPN's
honestly,
poll.
outside the top 3.
Go look at ESPN's poll. They have Oklahoma ahead of Tennessee.
Okay, yeah. See, that's where we're getting a little crazy. I don't know if they do that for views, and obviously I can.
There's some clickbait in here.
Yeah, I am 100% under the belief that ESPN has blown to the wind having any actual true credibility. I think that they just know at this point that, if you're really a football head, you're not going to go off of any, or really just a true fan of your team, you're not going to go off what ESPN says, even if it's good. I mean, I think we've all kind of agreed that if you're going to look at ESPN rankings or something, like you just kind of, So, yeah, that is, oh my gosh. And I don't know about the Florida State hype. Obviously they have a really.
Landon hates it. Landon is firm. I kind of think they're going to be really good this year. 2 reasons. I think they're just building, and they're also in the ACC. So I think they're. I don't know how good they'll be. Their record will be good this year.
Yeah, I mean they went 10-3 last year, and 3 of those losses obviously are within the ACC. I mean, it's not going to be. I agree. I do get the point. I just think based on where you're putting them, I mean, like ESPN has them at 3. I think that's too high. If you want to fill them in at 6, 7, 8, then just based off how
ESPN has them at 14. They're behind us.
Am I looking at the
ESPN.
wrong? Is this from?
You might be looking at on ESPN at the coaches poll. That's up.
It just says updated college power rankings spring edition May 3rd. That's why.
Yeah, they have and power. I think their power rankings are different. I think their power rankings are computer. If I remember correctly.
I just need. Yeah. Are they? If it's not updated on the app, I'm just pulling up random stuff. Regardless. Yeah. Okay. So then I don't think FSU is that. Okay.
I think they are underranked in ESPN.
14.
I think they should be ahead of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I'm out on Oregon still. Like I just have no belief in Oregon. They're behind Oregon. They do. I think they opened the season. I believe it's this year. It's not next year. In Orlando versus LSU again. Well, their last game was in New Orleans, but against LSU again, this time in Orlando.
That was a great game.
So that's going to be an interesting matchup. Good week 1. I don't know if it's a Monday night again, or did they play Sunday night? Whatever night of the week it was. It was a school night. You get it. You'll learn. I still say school night. I don't know if people who work say work night, but I always say school night. I stay committed to the brand.
Yeah. School nights are dreaded thing.
They're forever. School nights are forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like you'll kind of find out about LSU and Florida State real early on.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with like the preseason. I mean, it's probably one of those things where it happens all the time that you look at preseason versus week 3 and you're like, oh, okay. Well, so, and that's why you really don't, I mean, and I think again, maybe some of it's just because they can and it's preseason. You can't really get mad at someone for having awful preseason polls, but
we can and we will.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say, yeah, don't put anything past us and anything, but, it's one of those where you overdid it. If you want to put them in there at a respectful spot where you can look back and be like, I understand why you had the hype, but putting a team way too high and then when they fall off, you just lose a little bit of credibility. So you think they'd take the safer option, but again, getting back to Tennessee themselves, I mean, I think it's a respectable spot just because, it's the questions are there, and as confident as we can be as Tennessee fans that we can trust, Josh Heupel's offense to kind of refill and come back. If not, I mean, having the same way that the season played out and stuff's obviously going to be tricky, and finding an 11-2 record is going to be, people can debate about it. People think that that's the ceiling for Tennessee this year, and I can make an argument for both, but I guess that's to be seen. And so I think that gives us enough cushion to not feel too bad if we're higher or lower than that come week 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see how it all shakes out, and I'm excited to make I think we've ranked teams before, but a legitimate top 25. So that'll be fun. Let's talk a little fall camp. Let's get ready for this year. This is all my fault. Last episode, I said Cooper Mays has to stay healthy, and Josh Heupel announced today he'll be out for a few weeks. So I will take the full blame for this.
Yeah, that's announcer's or podcaster's curse.
Cooper Mays has been just obliterated by my words, and I apologize.
Yeah, should have known better, but it's okay. Maybe we can try to reverse that for
a little reverse curse. Let's
find Carson Beck. Maybe do we want to try to just say that he should have a really productive season and that.
Okay, I'm down for anyone. Let's think about let's come back to this Sunday night. Let's have everybody bring their person that I should try to reverse.
Everybody have one person.
And then I'll think about it. Yeah, we can vote on it. Yep. We'll let the people decide. Yeah, this is a huge loss. I don't think it's incredibly detrimental. In a sense, I'm glad it's happened now to essentially they're going to find a full fall camp to find that guy. Right now, according to everyone at practice, it looks like it's going to be Ollie Lane. He was taking the majority of the snaps. So yeah, but that just it sucks. And I don't know if I don't know if we were confident in the offensive line. I know a lot of people weren't before this, and I think that's just a massive loss to the mental side of the offensive line. Obviously, Cooper's really good as well at center in and of himself, but that's a big loss, and I'm interested to see where they go if Ollie Lane stays at center. We'll see what the guys at practice say, or if I don't know if they look for someone else to fill that role. And I just don't think they're incredibly confident in Addison Nichols right now or Parker Ball. So it looks like it'll probably be Ollie Lane. Some people are like, don't play him against Virginia. And then Austin P. Yeah, no, I'm down with that. I kind of really just want to beat the brakes off Virginia from the get-go. So I'd like for the team, if they can play, to go. I don't necessarily want to rest anyone that game. But if he can't go, he can't go. I get it. But
yeah, you don't want to push it. Obviously, it would be nice to just open up the season on a burner against Virginia. You don't want to pull back at all. I think the line's minus 23.5, 24.5, something in that area.
Oh, it was 28 at one point.
Was it really? Okay, so maybe maybe it's at 26 or something. But I think the thing with the offensive lines that you're right, there maybe wasn't as much confidence in the group as a whole. So you run into the issue of trying to fill in the gaps. But the thing that I think that is going to be good, and I know we're kind of in the middle of doing it right now with camp, but you have a little bit more depth than you've had before, just in a sense of filling in the gaps and being able to have players that it can actually, what they're doing in camp right now. People are getting moved around. People are seeing different spots. And of course,
there's been a ton of movement. Tennessee's offensive line should be incredibly versatile right now. There's been a lot.
Yeah. And so, I think and especially with Mays, Spraggins and Mays are going to be the two kind of, senior leaders of that line and kind of be the guys that people look to, kind of head that issue. But so obviously having Mays out, and I didn't. So you said how long first? It's just kind of unknown.
It said a few weeks. I think was the original, and they, guys at VolQuest may have updated. They may have heard more by now. I don't remember, but a few weeks was the original take, the original Josh Heupel gave.
Yeah.
So that could be he's back in time for Virginia, 100% healthy. Could be Florida, which I'm sure that's the goal right now from them, is to have him healthy and ready to go in the Swamp.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's the first game that it really, obviously, again, like I said, you don't want to just be messing around against, Virginia or Austin P and not, taking your foot off the gas. But in terms of health, if we're 3 weeks out and then, you got 2 weeks before Florida again, before that, that's, 5 weeks removed plus practice time. I would assume if it's something they're saying several weeks now, or even just a couple weeks, I imagine by 5 weeks we should be good by Florida, which is the first true testament that Tennessee has. If Tennessee struggles against Virginia, neutral site, and Austin P at home, then we've got way bigger issues to deal with than Cooper Mays missing at center. So hopefully that's the case by then. I do think I've heard throughout the week that and just fall camp in general, that Spraggins seems to be taking just a good positive leadership role, and is really trying to get the group together, and that keyed in with Joe Milton really trying to work with chemistry between that O-line and really build as a new quarterback. Anytime you got a new quarterback coming in with an offensive line, obviously you got to kind of rekindle that relationship of you're my protectors. So we'll see how it plays out for fall camp, and maybe hear more on the Cooper Mays injury as time progresses. But for right now, just plug and play during fall camp. Just see whoever does the best.
Yeah, there's gonna be some learning here. Tennessee did scrimmage for the first time. Doesn't sound like like Tennessee was missing a lot of guys, but apparently the run game looked really good. If you saw the highlights on Instagram, I hope there were more of those, because I mean Jalen Wright. I'm not a fan of the number 0 on a football player. It looks good in 0.
It does, yeah. I mean the running back room's deep. We've got a lot of confidence in the running back room. That's one of those areas. But yeah, back in Neyland today, I mean that's pretty cool. I mean it's just nice. I don't care if there's not a single fan in there. It's just cool. It's cool to be in the cathedral.
Be back in Neyland,
man. Yeah, I mean
back in Neyland.
It's this is the time period where everything just morphs together, and you're like, dude, it's going quick. Like we're about to be before you're gonna blink, and we're gonna be in Nissan Stadium.
God dang it, that pisses
Speaking
me
of,
off.
It does piss me off. I just saw I think by 2026 or 7, they're hoping to have the stadium done. They have like a whole new.
Okay.
It looks pretty sweet. So
yeah, I saw. I haven't watched the new video, but I saw where they dropped the new video for it. So
yeah,
I mean, they won a Super Bowl. Nashville wants a Super Bowl. That would be. I hate that for you, Dylan. That week's going to be miserable. Nashville does not have the infrastructure for a Super Bowl, but that'd be really cool.
They don't, dude. Not even close.
They don't have the infrastructure for just a normal day in the life of Nashville. So good luck. But yeah, we'll be back in Nissan 23 days, I reckon. 22 if you're listening on Friday. Don't have anything else for fall camp. I just want to kind of mention real quick too that Kirby Cannell Sunday night, maybe. I don't know if we've talked about this. I don't think we have. Kirby Cannell, though, announced he's coming back. That's huge to get a guy. I mean, you look at Kirby's got one job, and it's usually to strike one batter out. Some appearances will last longer, but usually they're bringing him in for one guy, and Kirby's really good at what he does. Getting back a dude that's been now on campus for 5 years, I think is pretty huge as well. Get a guy that's a leader in the clubhouse. Stash is back, baby. Free mustache rides rain.
Yeah, I mean, he has. Yes, you're right. He does have. I think he has 2 jobs. I mean, I think the second job is to be the most awesome looking dude to ever touch a baseball field nationwide.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the best.
He's also got school spirit, man. He's
always
the guy with putting the fur coat on. Dude's just spirited.
There was, I don't remember what game it was this season, but he spent about 15 minutes before the game talking, like fake beefing with this guy from right field stands. It had to be 15 plus minutes, and he just had a big hog and was just kind of like it was weird. Like, they didn't know each other, I don't think, and it was just the funniest interaction that he just they were like just basically getting ready to go, and like everyone was back out of the bullpen, everyone was cleared out, and he was just chalking it up. So definitely a good personality to have back on top of the skill, obviously. And so
can we get a flag for when he comes out of the bullpen that just says free mustache rods that gets flown?
Yeah, I would like to maybe embrace some Kenny Powers-ish in him, like just kind of like just full, maybe like get him the US, or we'll do an orange and white mule, or maybe like a zebra or something that he can ride in and get the some Roman candles on his back or some fireworks or something. Just fully embrace it.
I'm still, for anyone from the Vol baseball program listening right now, I'm still willing to drive your bullpen cart. Just let me know. I'll drive it. I'll drive the speed limit you tell me to drive. Why would you make your guys jog out there if you don't need to?
It's a good point.
It's unnecessary. I'll take the load. Don't worry.
It's a great point.
We'll do that. And by the way, we are calling it the Arm Barn. It is the Arm Barn cart. So I think that's just a cooler name. Who knew PETA would come up with a cooler name?
Is that what that's?
I think that was a PETA thing, because bullpen was. I don't think animal friendly for whatever reason.
I do think Arm Barn's way sicker than bullpen.
I do too.
In terms of history, I mean bullpens. Yeah, I mean it's just
bullpen's bullpen.
You can't, but Arm Barns. That's pretty cool. Usually you come up with some other
Yeah, it's
other
terrible.
name for something. It's usually not that good, but that's a pretty good alternative, Arm Barn.
Yeah. I feel like barn could still be taken as a negative towards animals, though. That's my only confusion.
Yeah, it's weird that you wouldn't just negate entirely any animal instead of
Right.
laterally to just some other more vague animal source. So
Yeah, but whatever. Good on you, PETA, for bringing that one in. We appreciate it. Questions. I don't really think I forgot to check Twitter. I'll check
there's
Twitter.
none in the live chat.
All right, cool.
Dylan, if you see any.
Let's see.
It's X, by the way. The amount of that should be. I don't mean to kick off stupidities early or anything, but the amount of times because I scroll down and search, so I type the apps. I think it's just a habit. I've probably already done it 100 times searching Twitter, and for the first 2 days, X still popped up. Like I think there was some forgiveness there. Doesn't do it now, and it takes me about 5 seconds to be like, did Twitter get deleted or
the X icon sucks.
It
way doesn't look good.
Flashy.
Doesn't look good, fancy. And then. I don't know. Why couldn't you I don't. Is there a creative way to spell X? I don't. Just an X looks so lame.
How else would you spell X?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like if you, for example, this isn't necessarily a cool way to spell T, but like you might spell it T.
Yeah, but I don't know how.
I don't know if you can't. No, that's what I was asking.
S?
Yeah, I don't know. But
I don't know what X. I think it's just
the letter. The letter X looks terrible though.
No, I mean I agree.
Under the icon?
It's too Tesla-y, but
it's also a weird thing to like get away from the name Twitter. I feel like half of the popularity was in the Twitter's kind of a cool name.
Yeah, I think it's Twitter. Like I mean,
still has the birdhouse icon, or he did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, and then. I saw that they were messing around with some logos that like it was X, but it was in the shape of a bird. So I'm like, okay, well then how much off of Twitter are you getting? Because whatever, nothing we can do about it. But
as long as it doesn't go away,
we're just gonna keep calling it Twitter.
Yeah, for sure.
It's gonna take at least 2 years to be like X. It doesn't even sound right. It sounds like I don't
know if I'll say it.
Plugging something in else wrong. There's gonna be a whole demographic that has no idea what you're talking about. So
dude, I'll actually.
For now, it's Twitter.
Yeah. We did have one question. Just said, me and my girlfriend are coming from out of town for a game. Where should we tailgate? You should tailgate at the More Important Issues tailgate.
You should. There is actually only one place to tailgate, and that is the More Important Issues tailgate. If you go anywhere else, you're not going to get an authentic tailgate experience. For the right price, I can offer you a Joey Boots exclusive Knoxville tour before a game. We can do some crazy stuff. But other than that, those are your two options.
All right, we kind of maybe. Where would you take someone on a Friday night in Knoxville before a game? Like, where are you going? Does it depend on the age, or are you just like, is the Joey Boots tour are you doing Joey Boots activities? Or do you make it?
I would assume so. I'm sure.
Okay.
I think it'd be like 2 hours of structured stuff, and then I get tired and be like, all right, you're just going to follow me around for the rest of the night. Whatever I do, you're doing. I wouldn't tell them that. It would probably be pretty epic anyway. But yeah, probably just a good old just jog down the strip. Maybe.
Where's dinner?
Maybe hang a Randy for some Gus's, or can't do Copper Cellar. If we're really doing the Joey Boots experience, we're probably just going to cook a quesadilla in my apartment and burn it. But other than that,
me and Landon we need to do the Joey Boots experience for a Friday night before a game this year. Maybe a smaller game because I'm worried like the next morning might be slow. So maybe not like A&M where we're probably going to get up at like 5 a.m. to tailgate, but.
Yeah, well, let's just do the Friday before Georgia, because presumably we'll have a college game day, and you can just go all the way through the night and then be a zombie by 8 p.m. the other night.
Sounds great to me.
Yeah, don't recommend. It's not Florida. Florida. I learned my lesson. We're never doing that again.
All right, stupidities. Oh wait, I have an inverse of stupidity. I'm gonna do a shout. I don't do shout outs for this often, but I got to give credit where credit's due. Some show on SEC Network. I have no idea. Something they run during the day. They did their best audience participation songs in the SEC.
Oh yeah.
Rocky Top was number 1. Dixieland Delight was number 4. They also credited it to Tennessee after revealing it. Shout out to them. That's
whatever the producer.
Great work.
Us Vols are, you can't stop a Vol, and I respect that, because if you think about it, how many other like fan bases are that diehard to at their own job on like a semi-serious. I know you get like messing around with stuff, but like that's something that we would do if I was, doing the storyboard for a SEC Network show. That's something a Vols fan would do. I don't know any Big Ten school fan that's doing that. Maybe a Georgia and Bama, but that's it.
I've talked trash on like sales calls before when they're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You Tennessee fan?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, I'm a South Carolina fan," and I'm like, "Hey, screw you."
Yeah, like I literally don't need your business. Like I'd rather lose the sale than do any sort of business with a human like you.
And I try to do it in a friendly way, but like I make it pretty stern points that I hate you and what you stand for.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think there has to be. I think it's mutually respected. I mean, I think you get to decide who you do business with, or at least how you treat that person.
Exactly. All right, stupidity. Now, actually, into stupidities, since I went away from it.
I'll just breeze over really quick. It's not. I mean, I could probably save it for a fail, but preseason football's back tonight, which is kind of fun because football's back. I'm going to make sure that they haven't updated it since or tossed him out there anymore, but CJ Stroud got his first start. 2 for 4, 13 yards and a pick. So,
yep.
Hot start for the kid.
Good stuff. Classic Houston story. This is going the exact way I thought it would. So,
Will Anderson looks good, though. Talking totally separate. He looks really good.
I could not think of his name the other day. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so, like,
it's
basic.
We got
so used to, like, normal names. Or non-normal names.
Will Anderson might be very, very similar to like our generation's John Smith.
Yeah, it is. It's like, I can remember Ja'Cory Brooks or I can remember Javonte Spraggins, but I can't remember Will Anderson.
Will Anderson. It's too common. It's a creative player's name.
It is. It's what you start off with on Madden.
Yeah. I definitely recruited a Will Anderson in my like year 2028 of my NCAA dynasty for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Let's see. I'm running across so many things that aren't stupidities that I meant to mention too. This is bad. So I'm going to mention it. It's not a stupidity either. We had South Louisville's head coach Paul Shelton on the pod a couple 2 weeks ago. I don't remember when that was. It was a while ago. He got a shout out from McAllen Castles in his media.
That's hype.
In his media appearance, yeah. So no big deal, McAllen, but we had him. You technically had him first, but we mentioned him first.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Oh well, I guess we're still not. Do you have any other random things that you scrolled upon that you?
No, not stupidities. Other than the AP poll ranking, it's absurd, but that's
a given. Dude, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Go ahead.
No, well, I ran across one more. Josh Prey said, I don't know if you know who that is. I don't know if he's real. Like I don't. He might not be. He said Florida's going to the playoff. So we
did this last year with Kentucky fans thinking that they were genuinely going to be second over in the SEC East over Tennessee. I mean,
I think they're starting to think that again.
Whatever.
We've heard this story too many times, folks.
Yeah, we're not gonna We're not gonna waste our breath on it. That's a stupidity.
Florida might be playing in the 6A high school playoffs if they're lucky.
There you go. Yeah, against Bishop Sycamore. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right, so
it sounds so fake you didn't even believe it. Said it.
I can't wait for whatever the new documentary coming out is. Snapchat. I'm glad I framed the person out. I don't even remember who this was on my Snapchat, but look, I'm all about these new restaurants getting creative and you gotta stand out, right? Nobody wants to it's all just this farm to table taking over weird places and making them restaurants. But this is way past the line. All right. If I said pickle sandwich, what would you picture?
The most disgusting sandwich ever. Just like 2 spear pickles on bread.
Yeah. Okay. Now picture that, and now picture that the pickle is bread. I have a picture.
Oh,
I want you to look at this.
How?
And examine close up.
Yeah, I do need to. Well, let's see this.
Is that not the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen in your entire life?
Okay, that's shockingly, that is much better done than I imagined when you said it, but that is one of the more disgusting things I've ever seen in my entire life.
And then I think there's banana
There's
peppers
pickles
inside of it.
Oh, is it banana peppers? I was gonna say they even went
But
as far as putting
the
pickles
crunch
inside it. What
factor,
kind of
you can't
meat is that?
physically-
Meat?
Well, yes. And so I think it's literally like
It looks
maybe a prosciutto, turkey,
disgusting.
ham, lettuce, cheese sandwich inside of a
the
like
meat looks nasty.
5 centimeter thick pickle.
What
Pause.
is the other thing that's packaged in there?
Oh, that's taffy. I guess it's
Okay.
a Jersey Shore thing. It's a taffy place. But again, also, who wants taffy after they just polished off a pickle sandwich? But that pickle looks absurdly hard to like bite into. That you're not actually eating a sandwich there. You are.
Yeah, I feel like you have to eat that with a fork and
then just eat the pickles after. And that's
Yeah.
also that's a dubious amount of pickle. That is
yeah.
the pickle that they put that into that sandwich is massive.
That's the cucumbers Dylan's growing. You should see those things. They're massive.
Well, there you go,
Terrifying.
Dylan. You can start making pickle sandwiches. They haven't absorbed in the Southeastern Conference yet, so you got yourself a tailgate seller.
I hope that stays the case. I really do.
Yeah. No, I hope I never see that in my life. If I do, I'm literally smacking out of someone's hands.
Do you like pickles?
Un-American? I love pickles, but I don't.
Oh, I hate pickles.
Okay.
So I'm biased.
Which is fair, but even for someone like me that could literally just house a jar of dill pickles right now, dill pickle spears. I don't want my sandwich to be composed of pickle for the bread replacement.
That's fair. 100% fair.
Maybe
yeah.
that's like-
Is it technically a sandwich if there's not bread? I feel like bread is it's kind of like targeting. It has to have all the
on the
things.
outside, a wrap or a bread or a tortilla or something. Maybe I'm out on the vegan world. I'm not in touch with it. Maybe there's
sandwiches have tortillas. So is taco a sandwich? Is it taco?
Well, no, I just mean like some sort of bread on the outside. It could even be.
Okay.
Yeah, tortillas don't count actually because that would be something different.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess
even if you put two tortillas,
that's quesadilla.
That's a quesadilla.
It's quesadilla. Yeah, that's all.
English is weird, or just America, I guess. But yeah, honestly, yeah. If I lived in a different country and I saw that abomination, I'd probably think America's pretty weird too. But again, maybe I'm out on vegan style. Maybe pickles are becoming a carb bread replacement or something, a gluten alternative. So, shout out pickle sandwiches.
It's the day food will die.
Yep.
Bye.
Ron Swanson would not be happy.
All right, that's all I've got. I don't have any more stupidities. Anything else to add?
I am good as well.
All right, guys. It has been a fun one. We will be back Sunday. Landon should be back, but if you want to tweet at him and tell him never to come back again, that's fine too. We appreciate y'all hopping on. We will be doing, oh gosh, what game's next? UT Martin's next.
Yeah.
That's very sad.
I think it's
Then
homecoming
Kentucky.
week.
It is homecoming. Landon's coming home. It all works out.
There we go. It all works
It
out.
all works out.
Shout out.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're also on YouTube. Give us a subscription. We don't use it that much, but just do it. The numbers look good. Give it to us.
Give it to us, and we're gonna attempt to start putting some more content up there, maybe some interviews or certain segments and stuff for you guys. So check it out. Check us out on Instagram. And
I'm never mentioning YouTube again. Dang, dude. That was awesome. I mean, that was just impeccable timing.
From what?
Impeccable. We got a comment as soon as we mentioned YouTube that we sound like stupid idiots. And fun fact, dang, dude, which
our one watcher on YouTube.
Dang, dude.
Is this the same guy that went on the rant on Facebook the one time about his dogs or whatever? And
it might be.
no,
this is that guy that got really mad at us for rewatching games in July, probably.
What do you want us to do, dang dude? You want to talk fall camp for an hour and a half?
We can. No, he didn't actually do it. I'm sorry to call him out.
Oh, yeah, Dylan, you're right. I'm not
He's gonna get you. Anyways, it's been fun. We're bringing the boat in. We out. I don't do that as good as Landon.